Okay, hey there. Miss seeing you tonight. So what I wanted to do, we're just gonna kind of touch on a couple things, and then um, I know that we've been working on why I love the God I serve, and so I don't really want to kind of get in more into like courting it out and all that kind of stuff because I'd rather do that one like we're face to face. I think that'll be a little bit easier. But I was just kind of listening through a little bit of it, and so I wanted to kind of point a few things out to you and see if this might be something that we can incorporate into your playing time. And so I'm going to kind of back up a little bit into, well, let's just go from the introduction. Um, Number one, on that introduction, the way that you need to play that is this. If you listen to it really close, the first time that they play that little run, that da 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 da, that is super, super choppy, right? And so if you listen to it, it's like the chording on. Now, when it goes into the second time is when it changes. So let me back up just a little bit. When it changes is that actually it's the same chording. Like we chorded it out that it's the same each time, but we're going to add the sustain pedal the second time through. Because we're still playing those same chords. Right? And so that's going to fill that space. So let's listen to that again. So you hear... whoops. Choppy. Now sustain. And then at the end of that, it does chop a da 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 da. There's a slight choppy break in that song to where da 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 and so you want to make sure when we're playing a song like this, especially like a church song, because we're not necessarily wanting to copy them, but we do want to make sure that elements of the song that make it what it is, that we're mindful of that and that we're playing through those things. Because if you play this through choppy both times, it's gonna be a little disconnected from the verse, like it dun 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 dun. It's just gonna be disconnected. They add that second part where we sustain it, and what that does is just sort of builds a bridge between choppy and then the verse is flowing and sustained. So we sustain the bounce of those chords on that second round through, but then we have that one break. Let's see. Da 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 da. So it's like da 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 da. And so it has that just half second, half beat break right there. And then so many reasons I love the Lord. Now that's the part I really wanted to talk about. We want to really work on embellishing the chords in the songs that you're playing. We don't want to just, here's the deal. If you just play a song straight through and you have the chords and the chords are all right, you can get by with that and that's fine. I mean, that's, as long as somebody knows the chords, they can play any of that kind of stuff. But beyond that, like the sign of, really expanding your playing and making it more unique and making it more, special and more yours, is by adding embellishments. And those can be a little tricky. I've heard you play a few things, and so I know you're capable of doing it, but I do know that it can get kind of a little tricky sometimes when we're doing that because embellishments and fill-ins and things like that when you're playing are not always just like perfectly on beat. They're not perfectly like, oh, we play it da 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 da. It's not always perfectly laid out, is what I'm trying to say. But just little things that you do can give you some added interest in your playing. So what I wanted to point out, because we hadn't really even, I don't think, pointed this out or noticed it before, but listen, coming into that first line, that I love the Lord, it's going to that 6 minor. I want you to hear what they do at the end of that. So many reasons I love the Lord. I tried. Did you hear that? Do-do-do. So we're going to a 6 minor, so that's that E flat minor. What I would say it probably is, it's just going to be an inversion of that chord. I haven't figured this out. And here's the thing. You don't have to do it perfectly exactly the same way that they do it anyways. But what I do want to challenge you to do on that part is squeeze in a fill-in. Okay? So many reasons I love the Lord. Just play that chord, roll it higher on the keyboard. Or do an inversion of that. So that's the B flat, E flat, G flat. Or you can do it E flat, G flat, B flat, which that's the root position of that E flat minor chord. E flat, G flat, B flat. One thing that I say when you're doing embellishments, like if you roll chords, I tend to roll those chords in the direction that I'm going. For example, if I'm playing in the key of C, and I'm going from the key, like from C to F, that's a walk up, right? So if I roll that C chord, I'm probably going to roll it up. Like that. Now, if I'm on C and I'm going to G, that's obviously, that sounds like it goes down. So then if I roll the C chord, I'm going to roll it down. I'm going to roll it in the direction that I'm heading with my chording. So da-da-da. Sorry, G. Like that. Rolling chords is one of the easiest ways to add an embellishment to a song. So, for example, on this one, you're just playing a whole bunch of chords right there in that whole beginning of the song. Just adding that is going to add a little extra something to it. And depending on when you start that, you may have time to do it twice, like up here and then walk down. So, and that's the other thing. B. The other thing is like on that particular run, we're going from the 1 to the 1/3 to the 4 to that 6 minor. And then the next chord after that, the Lord, it's going back to that 1/3 to 4. Da, 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 right? But if you're filling in and doing like a little embellishment, you can almost get by with not playing the 1/3. So like, da, 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 ba, 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 da, 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 and just go straight to the 4. Like you can kind of play through that 6 minor, play it down the keyboard, and then just sort of like leave it hanging on that. So I love the Lord, ba, 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 and just go straight to your 4 chord. Ba, 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 ba. Now on that second line, I fall short. I might roll that where I'm at in that current position, roll it up, just to kind of give it that, because we've already kind of do-do-do. Now I'll go do-do-do, roll it up. That will add something to it. I want you to try to add some embellishments to your playing. And that's going to be in a lot of different ways. Now, I do want to give you a couple other examples of some stuff that you can do. One thing that I do, if I am playing just like a shouting song or like a fast praise and worship song, that sort of thing, what I will sometimes do in my chord changes would be like, let's see, I'm just going to try this in F. We'll see. Number one embellishment that you can do that really adds a lot to a song. If the song is coming in on the 1, like, let me just think of something. Like, praise him, praise him, praise him in the morning, praise him in the noontime. That's just in F, right? So it's going to start on that 1 chord. Well, to bring in that, like if I'm just wanting to kind of be, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use, but like we're getting ready to go into this song, and let's say the preacher's saying something, he's exhorting before we sing the song, and I'm wanting to kind of get everybody to hear the chord that we're going to be singing. If you play the 4 chord over the 5 octave, so in this case, if I'm in F, the 4 chord is B flat, my 5 octave would be C. One thing you can do is take that 4 chord, make it a 7 chord. So instead of a B flat, do a B flat 7. So it's just a B flat, add the A flat to that. And another thing that I will do if I'm doing that, like especially in F, is just take that B flat and that A flat and just kind of walk that down. B flat, A flat, walk it back and forth, and then walk it down B flat, A flat, F. So, and then even go down, walk it down to the E flat. Now, what I did right there on that first chord, I'm going to the F, right? That's my 1. One thing that you can do with that is trip off of the F minor. And so what I mean by that is play the F minor and just slide off of that minor note, that 3 flat, and slide it up to the 3. So that would be like, let's see. And I wish you could see what I was doing. It's hard to get a good camera angle. But I'm on 4 over 5. I'm playing the B flat in a 7 chord. Rock that B flat, A flat, B flat, A flat, F, E flat. And then F minor tripped up into the F major. So when you get the hang of kind of doing that, tripping those little notes, just literally sliding off of it into your next note, you can do that on a lot of chords and it sounds really good. So I'm going to just give you a little fun thing to work on with this. Would be in the key of F. Here's how I want you to play it. What I just showed you, the 4 over 5. Sorry. So trip that minor to your F. Now, there is a style of playing that's sort of a big band, bluesy sort of thing. And it goes like this. If you're on the F chord, you're playing in the 1, and you're going to stay on that 1 chord for a little bit before you go to like the 4 chord. You're going to play F major. Then you're going to go to the B flat on your right hand. Your left hand's going to play a D. So I have F major, B flat over D. Then you're going to take your left hand to the E flat, and your right hand's going to play F, C, E flat. So it's going to be a variation of a C minor. So it's kind of a C minor over E flat. And then you're going to go back to the B flat chord with an E on the bass. And then back to your F, and I trip that little minor. So left hand is going F, D, E flat, E, F. So that's left hand. Now right hand is going F, B flat, C minor, B flat, F. But the way that I'm playing that, I'm having to try to explain this without being able to really like show it to you, is this. My thumb is on F. My other 2 fingers are playing the A and the C, okay? Now, as I change these chords, my thumb stays on the F. I'm just moving these two fingers back and forth between those chords. So, F. Now, these two fingers, A, C. So I F major, F, A, C. And then I'm going to go B flat, D. C, E flat. B flat, D. And then back to F, A, C. Trip the minor. And now I know that gets a little redundant there, but what you do is in that course of time when I'm getting ready to go to the 4 chord, then I just take my left hand and just keep walking up as I'm going up. So I just walked up G, A flat, A, B flat. I'm going to go straight to my B flat chord. And I trip the B flat minor. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with that one, is that I'm going to move those two fingers. I'm going to keep my thumb on B flat, moving the other two fingers. D, F, E flat, G, F, A flat, E flat, G, B flat. So it's going to sound like this. Over at the left hand is going to do that same thing. You're going to go down up by half steps. G, A flat, A, B flat. And then you can throw in that 4/5 with the B flat 7 chord. And then we go right back to the F. Just kind of a fun little thing to do. It's good for like offertory or something like that too. Just a little fun song to play while people are giving, okay? All that to say is this, is that there's embellishments, there's things that you can do to add to what you're playing, because it's really good to know the chords, to know what the music is, how the song itself goes. But beyond that, you want to be able to add some extra things. And I know I've told you about like the, you can play that D2 chord, which, well, I guess it's more like an A suspended. I don't know. It's kind of a weird chord. You could call it an A suspended because it's A, D, E, and then I play an A at the top, play like the full octave. If you can't reach that, that's okay. But A, D, E, and then you can go move your bass hand around. I'm on the D on my bass hand. And then I'll take my bass hand to F sharp and stay on the D. Now I'm going to move my bass hand to the G. And you'll find little things like that, that once you put those together and see how they relate to each other, then anytime you're playing a song in the key of D, then you can kind of add that stuff in there. But play around with it, experiment with it, find the things that sound good and what, kind of does something for you. And by doing that, you can really add a lot of embellishment to your playing. But as far as for your song, Why I Love the God I Serve, keep working on that. Work through the parts that we've already chorded out. But I do want you to try to think of some ways that you can embellish. Listen to the song. So like when they do, I love the Lord, do-do-do, work on playing that. Figure out what that is, or at least a variation of that. And then I want to listen again and show you one more thing here. And so they do it again. Do-do-do. They're playing that. But I fall short. Do-do-do. And then you have that music at even more. He is a pride. And then you go right back into it. Pay attention to things like that, because that is all stuff that makes that song unique in itself. so that when you play it, it's obvious what you're playing. You don't want it to just sound like every other song. You want it to be unique. So listen to the song, listen through, find ways that you can embellish this song, and then work on some of these other embellishments that I showed you and see if there's songs that you already know or that you already do that maybe you can add those things to. Because the cool thing is these embellishments, you'll find some that you just sort of revert back to whatever song you're playing. I've told you before, like if I play a slow song, I'm probably going to play a 2 chord. If I'm in F, I'm going to play an F2. If I'm in C, just because I think it sounds better than just playing that straight. It just gives you a little bit of extra emotion, feeling, that sort of thing. So be working on that. If you have any questions, holler at me. Hopefully I'll see you next week. I think Mom said something about maybe working out a new time. Just get with us and let us know, and we will get you all set up. So good to see you. Talk to you later. Bye.